Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Isabel and this is my library. In today's video, I bring you an original tag all about the weather. Before starting on this tag, I'd like to thank Michelle from Literary Me for not only tagging me in this video, but also for being the original creator of this tag. Great job, Michelle. And I'd also like to thank Victoria from The Minimalist because she also tagged me to do this video. And it's been a while. I'm trying to get caught up on all my tag videos, and this one seems to be right up my alley. So this one focuses on the impact that weather has on the different stories that we read and the impact that the weather has had on our lives and in our own stories. So let's go ahead and get started. Question number one is, how do you think an extreme weather event such as a hurricane, tornado, or blizzard impacts the plot of a book? I think setting is a very important part of a book, whether we're talking about location, whether we're talking about time period, or whether we are talking about the weather. So I feel like anytime that characters have to deal with circumstances that are unpredictable, that are out of their control, we get to see different sides of characters that maybe we've never really seen before. And what could be more jarring or more unpredictable than being caught in a hurricane or a storm or a blizzard or a tornado? So I feel like the impact that the setting, in particular weather, has on a book is grandiose. I think it really has the power to be used as a trope, to be used to push our characters to limits they've never been pushed before. So I think it's a wonderful plot device in addition to be an establishment of setting. So I think the weather is incredibly important when it comes to the books that we read. Question number two. Name a book you've enjoyed where some type of natural disaster or storm played a role in the story. So I have two that I will be sharing with you. I am a big fan of storms or extreme weather conditions in books that I read, in particular horror books and thrillers. That's really something that I enjoy reading. It's been featured in my videos before of things that I love, and extreme weather conditions is something that I've grown to really appreciate and like. I think it's a staple pretty much of a lot of thrillers where we have this concept of all the characters are stuck somewhere together, and usually what's keeping them together is inclement weather. So I chose two examples of books that I have really enjoyed that had this situation with the weather. The first one I'll share with you is The Night of the Storm by Nishida Parekh. And in this one, we are following main characters that come together to this house. They're all family members, but they come together to this house to kind of bunker down because there is a hurricane that is coming. And it's based on the hurricane that hit Texas a couple years back. I want to say Hurricane Harvey. So that's kind of like the driving force in this particular book, how they are all trying to survive this hurricane, but in reality, they're also trying to survive the night and make sure that they don't end up killed by whatever entity is there trapped with them that is seeking revenge or whatnot. So this was a really good thriller that had a storm element to it. So the second book I want to talk to you about that also features inclement weather or being trapped by the weather is Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. And in Alice Feeney's Daisy Darker, we are on an island that has a gothic house and it belongs to the grandmother. And what ends up happening is that at the stroke of midnight, like a storm starts. And as a result of that, for the next 8 hours, when the tide rises or whatnot, like they are out of communication with everyone else. And they clearly are in danger. Their lives are in danger. And yeah, I feel like the weather and the isolation in this one really made for a very scary premise and this feeling of foreboding of what is happening to these people that are locked in this space together. Question number three. Have you ever experienced a weather event that had a lasting impact on you or was a memorable time in your life? So I'll start by saying I'm from Miami. So in Miami, we do have quite a few storms. And from my childhood to my adulthood, there were quite a few storms that severely impacted us or affected us. When I was a little kid, one of the first storms like that I remember was a really big deal was Hurricane Andrew. And Hurricane Andrew was really big here in Florida and in Miami. And I remember a lot of people lost their power for days, houses were destroyed, impacted like the starting of the school year. We didn't get to start the school year like till like 3 weeks later. So and I was really little, so the memories are vague, but I do remember that feeling of everyone like coming to my house and me seeking, comfort and knowing that my dad was protecting us and, that we were all going to be safe. And I remember like my grandma's coming over and it was like a big deal. Like the whole family was there together for this big storm. And then thankfully, of course, nothing happened to us or to our property or anything like that. But I do know a lot of people who struggled with Hurricane Andrew and didn't, you know, didn't fare as safely as we did. Then in my adulthood, there were quite a few other big storms. I'm not really sure if I remember like all the names, but I do know that there was one storm that impacted us and our house was fine, but in our area we didn't have power for about 2 weeks, and that was so difficult. As you guys can imagine how hot Miami is in August, right? July, August. And we didn't have power, the spoiling of the food from the fridge, just no electricity, showering with cold water, trying to walk around the house with no lights, no electricity, not being able to charge our devices. We didn't even like find like, a lot of water or ice and stuff like that. So I remember that being difficult. And I know that happened twice in my adulthood, kind of like I was already an adult. So two instances of those where we've lost power for like a week or so, and it's been difficult. So yeah, those are pretty much like the three instances in my life that I know storms have impacted where I live. So question number 4: what is your favorite type of book to curl up with while a storm is raging outside? Thriller, romance, memoirs? So clearly a good thriller, a good mystery, a good horror book. So my favorite genres are my favorite genres to read during terrible weather. There's just something about feeling cozy and it's raining outside and it's thundering and you're reading your book and scary things are happening in your book and scary things are happening outside your window and your door, but you're safe under the blankets and it's just such a cozy feeling. So I mean, I'm always going to say horror, mystery, and thriller are the genres I want to read during any kind of situation. But I think in particular during inclement weather, I want to read my favorite genres. So, question number 5: name a book character you've enjoyed who had to overcome or endure a weather related hardship. So, for this one, I picked Mila from Shiver by Ali Reynolds. This is one of my favorite thrillers that are isolated, close circle thrillers where the weather plays an impact on what happens. So in this book, we're following Mila and a group of her friends who've all come to this reunion. They're friends from the past. They've come together. They're in the French Alps, and they're stuck in this mountain resort during this fierce blizzard, like this snowstorm. And basically, they start dying one by one. And so I really, really enjoyed this, and it's truly one of my favorite books that has this kind of trope. And we also, which is familiar, which is something kind of common in a lot of these books, we have like a dual timeline, which is kind of explaining the past and how that might be impacting the present. But yeah, so Mila from Shiver is a character that faces um, a lot because of the weather and the situation she has managed to find herself in. Question number 6: if you were told to evacuate your home, which 3 books are in your go bag and why? So I know a lot of people picked for this one books they have not read yet, like their 3 longest books they haven't read yet or something like that. That's a lot of gambling for me. Like if I'm only taking 3 books, I want it to be 3 books that I know I'm going to enjoy, that I know I love, that are my favorite books, pretty much. So the 3 books that I would take with me if I had to leave my home would be Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. It's very long. I'm familiar with the characters and the plot and the story. It's a world I like living in. I don't mind going back to it over and over again. It has a lot of reading material for me. It has some beautiful quotes. It has a little bit of murder mystery. It has a little bit of romance. It has a little bit of Victorian Gothic vibes. So Rebecca's definitely coming along with me. Next, I would take with me Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte because I would have a lot to read. You know, it's pretty lengthy. So I would have a lot of reading material. I also feel like the fact that it's like this generational story with Jane Eyre, like we meet her really young all the way to her adulthood, that would make me feel like, there's a passing of time and things are being accomplished and there's journeys and, lots to be learned from here. So I would love that. And beautiful quotes that I can go over and over and reread them again. So Jane Eyre is also coming with me. So 2 classics are coming with me. And then lastly, the book that's coming with me is a book of poetry. And I would take with me Devotions by Mary Oliver. And I would take Devotions with me because if I had to evacuate my home, I think I would be sad. I would be worried. I would be wondering when I could come back. I would be yearning the loss of my things, of perhaps things that I will lose in this storm. And there's no one that I find more comforting during those times than Mary Oliver and her poetry. Um, and Devotions is just the perfect kind of book for that because it contains poems from all of her works. So, according to whatever I need to read more about or whatever I'm feeling, if I want more nature poems or more poems about loss or maybe poems about spirituality, or, they're all here and they're all divided into their own little categories. And there's just something so beautiful about the comfort that poetry brings. And I could read these over and over again, and they make me think, they inspire me to create, they would give me solace, they would give me hope. So these poems would allow for everything to be better. So, yeah, I would definitely take Devotions by Mary Oliver with me if I had to evacuate. And question number 7: if you were writing a novel and had to use one of the following, a hurricane, a blizzard, a tornado, or wildfire in the story, which do you choose and why? I know I should probably say like hurricanes, right? Because I'm from Miami. I've experienced hurricanes my whole life. There's usually 1 or 2 warnings or hurricane threats or hurricane watches per year when you live in Miami. So I know a lot about them. I know how to prepare for them. I know what they're like. I know, but I would not. I would not write about hurricanes. I'd have to write about like a snowstorm or a blizzard simply because I love the snow and I love cold weather. And I would just research. I'd have to research a lot because I've never been stuck in a snowstorm before in my life. I've seen snow, but I've never, literally been stuck inside because of a blizzard. I've never been fortunate enough to experience that. I think, I would love that, but there's just something more ominous, I think, about the snow. I don't know why it is. Maybe it's just that hurricanes don't have much of an appeal to me anymore because I've experienced them so much. So I would have to choose a blizzard or a snowstorm. And, I'd have to research it because I don't even know how long they last, how long does it take for the snow to melt. Like, I mean, I don't know any of that. So I'd have to do a lot of research. But I think that just characters being stuck in like a cabin setting or in the mountains or in a foresty area, like those settings appeal more to me than stuck in like, hurricane kind of places. So that's why I would pick that one. Question number 8: Is there a book on your current TBR that features some type of inclement weather or natural disaster? There's a ton of them because I buy these books all the time because I love reading them. So I pulled one that's on directly on my TBR card because I've been wanting to read this for a hot minute. Secluded Cabin Sleeps 6 by Lisa Unger. So I've read Lisa Unger before. I've been meaning to read this. I really have. I just keep neglecting it. I don't know why. Um, so yeah, this one says three couples rent a luxury cabin in the woods for a weekend's getaway to die for in this chilling locked room thriller. But then when you read a little bit further, it says, but the dreamy weekend is about to turn into a nightmare. A deadly storm is brewing. So how fun is that? And yeah, I this is on my TBR and I've been wanting to read it for a while. So hopefully I get to it soon. Maybe I could do like a little vlog. Maybe I could do a vlog on reading books with inclement weather. I think that's something I could do. So yeah. Then lastly, question number 9 is just to tag some friends. So I will go ahead and tag a bunch of people to do this one. And if I tag you, you've done it already. My apologies. I'm a little bit behind on my tags. If I don't tag you because I don't really know that you watch my videos or you're a subscriber or whatnot, but you watch this and you feel inspired to do it, please do it. Tag me so that I know that you've done the tag and I can watch yours because I would love to see you do your own version of this. And yeah, let me know. Do you guys like reading books that have inclement weather or that put characters under dangerous situations with the weather? Have you read any good ones? Do you know any other books that maybe should be on my radar that, you know, take place in isolated closed circle settings with inclement weather? Let me know. I would love to add some more to my list. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this tag and for me today. Again, thank you, Victoria. Thank you, Michelle. I will go ahead and have their channels linked down below. Please check them out. And if you have not subscribed yet to my channel, please go ahead and do that. Please like this video, comment down below so that we can talk a little bit. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.